Some places were never meant to be found. Some secrets were never meant to be uncovered. My name is Karthik, and this is the story of the time I got lost in Blackwood Forest, a place where the trees whisper and the dead don't rest. The first time I heard about Blackwood Forest was in an old, tattered book I found in an antique store. It spoke of disappearances, strange shadows, and eerie whispers. The locals in the nearby village claimed no one who entered had ever truly returned, at least not the same. As a travel vlogger with a fascination for the unknown, I had spent years chasing haunted places, but nothing ever felt truly terrifying. It was always tricks of the mind, camera glitches, and overactive imagination. So, when I heard about Blackwood, I laughed off the warnings and packed my gear. I arrived at the edge of the forest just before sunset, parked my Jeep, and adjusted my camera. Thick mist curled between the towering trees, and the air smelled damp, ancient. Something about the silence unsettled me, but I pushed forward. Within the first hour, I noticed something strange. The deeper I walked, the quieter it became. No birds. No rustling leaves. Only my footsteps, crunching on dried twigs. Then, I heard it. A whisper. Just beyond my left ear. Turn back. I spun around, my flashlight cutting through the trees, but nothing was there. My heart pounded. Trick of the wind, I told myself. As I walked further, I came across a series of deeply carved symbols on the trees, strange, angular shapes that looked more like warnings than markings. A rotting wooden signpost lay collapsed nearby, covered in moss. The words were barely visible, "Do not enter." But I had come too far to turn back. I followed an overgrown path, my GPS malfunctioning, the time on my phone jumping backward and forward erratically. Then I noticed something terrifying, my own footprints, leading the wrong way. Panic set in. I had been walking in one direction, but my own footprint suggested I had been walking in circles. A distant laugh echoed through the trees. A child's laugh. I felt my blood run cold. I stumbled upon a cabin, its wooden walls decayed and blackened, as if burned but never fully consumed. The windows were shattered, and inside, a single candle flickered despite no sign of life. Against my better judgment, I stepped inside. The air was thick with the scent of rot. Old photographs lay scattered on the floor, showing people with hollow eyes, their faces blurred beyond recognition. I picked up a leather-bound diary, its pages damp and yellowed. It belonged to a man named Arun, dated nearly 40 years ago. His final entry read, "I hear them every night. They whisper my name. If you find this, you must leave before they make you one of them." A loud knock shattered the silence. It came from inside the cabin. I ran. The moment I stepped out of the cabin, the forest came alive, whispers in my ears, branches snapping, footsteps running alongside mine. Then I saw it. Between the trees, a figure stood, barely visible through the thick mist. Its limbs were too long, its head tilted unnaturally. It didn't move, but I knew it was watching me. A low voice rasped, "Stay." I turned and ran faster than I ever had in my life. Somehow, I found my way back to my Jeep. Gasping, I threw myself inside and locked the doors. The engine roared to life, and I sped away. Relief flooded me. Then my headlights illuminated the rearview mirror. A reflection that wasn't mine stared back at me. I don't talk about that night. Not in my videos, not to my friends. But every so often, I wake up to whispers in my room. My camera, untouched since that night, sometimes turns on by itself. And in the background of my last recorded footage, I see them. Watching. Waiting. Calling me back. I never believed in ghosts. Not until that night. The night I stayed alone in my grandmother's old house. I never thought much about the supernatural. Ghosts, spirits, and all those eerie tales never really scared me. But what happened that night changed everything. My grandmother had passed away months ago, leaving behind a house filled with forgotten memories. My parents wanted to sell it, but before that, someone had to check if everything was in order. I volunteered, thinking it would be a simple task. Just one night. What could go wrong? The moment I stepped inside, something felt off. The air was heavy, carrying the scent of old wood and something else, something damp, stale. The kind of smell that lingers in places untouched for years. The house was colder than it should have been, despite the summer heat outside. I ignored it, brushing it off as my imagination. I placed my bag in the guest room, the one I used as a child. Everything looked the same. The worn-out wallpaper, the wooden bed, the small writing desk by the window. But one thing was different. The closet door was open. And I never left it open. I walked over and shut it, trying to shake off the unease creeping up my spine. Just as I turned to leave, a faint whisper brushed against my ear. A low, breathy sound. I froze. The room fell eerily silent. My pulse pounded in my ears. I told myself it was nothing. Maybe the wind. Maybe my mind playing tricks. I climbed into bed, pulling the blanket around me. But the moment I closed my eyes, I heard it again. The whisper. This time, it was clearer. Right next to me. My body stiffened. I turned my head slowly, my breath caught in my throat. The closet door was open. Just a crack. I knew I had shut it. My hands trembled as I reached for my phone, using the screen's glow to scan the room. Nothing. Just shadows stretching across the walls. I swallowed hard and got up. I walked to the closet and, with a deep breath, yanked the door open. Empty. Just darkness staring back at me. I let out a shaky laugh, relieved. But as I turned back toward my bed, my eyes flickered to the window. And that's when I saw it. A reflection. Not mine. A shadow. Standing right behind me. I spun around, my heart slamming against my ribs. There was nothing. Just the empty room. But the air was thick, suffocating. I fumbled with my phone, turning on the flashlight. The closet door, it was slowly creaking open again. That was it. I grabbed my bag and ran. I didn't stop, didn't look back. I drove straight home, my hands gripping the steering wheel so tightly they ached. I felt my blood run cold. A week later, my parents sold the house. I never stepped foot in it again. But even now, when I lie in bed at night, I sometimes hear it. A whisper. Calling my name. And each time, I wonder, did something follow me home? Something about abandoned train stations always gave me chills. That night, I learned why. I had missed my last train home. The station was eerily silent, except for the occasional rustling of leaves. The electronic board flickered, showing no upcoming trains. But then, I heard footsteps. I turned, expecting a security guard or another late traveler. But there was no one. Just rows of empty benches and the dark tunnel ahead. The footsteps, they were still there. Getting closer. I felt my skin crawl. The air turned icy, and suddenly, the station announcement system crackled to life. A robotic voice echoed through the emptiness, next train arriving, but the board still showed nothing. The ground trembled slightly, as if something massive was approaching. I stepped back, peering into the tunnel. It was pitch black. But then, I saw the glow of headlights. A train was coming. But it made no sound. The train pulled in, doors sliding open with a mechanical hiss. I couldn't see inside. The darkness beyond those doors felt endless. Then, I heard it. A whisper. A voice calling my name. I staggered back. My heart pounded. There was no one else on the platform. No conductor. No passengers. Just the open doors, waiting. And the whisper, growing louder. I wanted to run, but my legs felt frozen. My breath turned into mist. And then, I felt something. A hand. Ice cold, gripping my shoulder. I turned sharply, but there was nothing there. The train doors hissed. The station lights flickered violently. And just as suddenly as it had arrived, the train began to pull away. I gasped for air. The announcement system crackled again. Last train departed, the clock on the station wall flickered, resetting itself. And then, silence. I ran. I never went back to that station again.